Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is an update in my Shop My Stash Project Pan series. The reason I refer to these as a Project Pan series is because I've set them up in a way that I'm doing a little bit of a usage style project pan. So what that means is when I select all of the products that I want to focus on in my Shop My Stash, so really just creating like an even more curated makeup bag to focus on for a few weeks, I am ensuring that I'm using everything at least 5 times before rolling in a new Shop My Stash. And I've come to realize that there are some products when I set the 5 usage goal that I use hit 5 times pretty much immediately, and then there are other products that it takes me significantly longer. And so that's why this update is happening at the very end of the month, because there were just a couple products that took me a while to use. But that is okay, because we hit the 5 on every single product in last month's Shop My Stash. And so I'm gonna go ahead and go through the products, let you know how many times I used them, let you know what I thought about them, and then we'll select some new ones, we'll talk about those, and then we'll get to using them for the next month or so. Speaking of products that took me a while to hit 5 uses, the first one is this Professional Primer from Benefit. And the reason that it took me a while to get 5 uses, and that's all I hit, just 5, is because I am focusing on another primer in my 5-pan rolling style project pan, and I'm very, very close to having this done, and so really spent pretty much every time I was wearing makeup, I was putting on that primer, although I did figure out a way to use this 5 times, and it was mostly or totally all under more like luminous foundations or tinted moisturizers, because this is much more of a matte primer. So I did really like it for that, and I do enjoy this primer. It's just my focus was elsewhere, so it took me a while to hit 5 on that one. Next is my Ciate face powder. This is the Everyday Vacay setting powder, coconut setting powder. So the first time I ever actually used this product was when I rolled it into this Shop My Stash project pan. I got this, I believe, in a BoxyCharm, and it's just been like sitting in my collection. The reason being is because I have another face powder that is a loose powder, and this is the Coty Airspun powder, and there's just so much product in here, so I just really always would use that one if I was using a loose setting powder. That being said, I'm so glad that I rolled this in and I finally used it. I used it 7 times, and I really did enjoy it. I liked the powder, I liked the smell of the powder, funny enough, because it smells like coconut. The only thing that was like a little weird is that when you first put it on, like before you blend it out, you can see like the white, because this is like a very white powder, so like didn't love that, because like if you weren't paying attention, like you might not blend it out, but I obviously recognized that and made sure to blend it, so it wasn't really that big of an issue. But that is like the one thing that I like didn't particularly like about it. But otherwise, like really enjoyed this powder, thought it made my foundation look really nice, and like I said, it's fun to use because of this scent. So my next 2 products are blush. The first one is this Kylie Cosmetics blush in the shade Rosy, and then the other blush that I was focusing on is my Makeup Geek blush in the shade Romance. So what I did with blushes and highlights is I pulled in a highlight and a blush that both had some pan on it, and then a blush and a highlight that didn't have any pan. So this is like relatively newer to my collection. I haven't used it a ton, although I did use it 8 times this past month, and then I used the Makeup Geek blush 7 times. So really did enjoy using both of these. They're very different. This one has more of like a gold shimmery reflect, and this one is obviously a pretty matte, like bright berry pink color. So definitely a different vibe on both of them, but I like them both a lot, and it kind of just depends on the mood that I'm going for. This one I've been preferring for that more like sunburn look, which is something that I really like right now, so I was leaning towards this one for that. But I do love this blush. It's just been a classic in my collection for a while, and because there's such a pan on it, I just tend to lean towards this one because I want to use it and expand the pan. But overall, I enjoyed them both a lot, and glad that I got the chance to devote more time to working on them. So like I said, I did the same thing with highlight, and the first highlight that I chose that didn't have pan on it is my Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics highlight palette. It's called the Flash. I'm not really lifting it up that well for you right now, and that's because one of the shades actually just pops out, which is how it was sent to me, which I'm not thrilled about, and there's some like cracking on some of them, which also was how it was sent to me. So I don't really love it, and I don't reach for it that much for that reason, which is really unfortunate because I think otherwise I'd probably use it a lot more. But I did a little kind of just dipping my brush into all of the shades and using that as my highlight, and I do think they're beautiful highlights, and I really do like how they apply and what they look like. It's just like the fact that it came broken just makes me like not pull for it that often, and I feel like I just have to be really gentle with it. I only use this 7 times this month, but I did use the other highlight that I rolled in 17 times, and that is another kind of Jaclyn Hill one, and this is the Becca highlight in the shade Champagne Pop. As you can see, like, this is the one that I have pan on, and I use this quite a bit. I just love this highlighter. I think it's a beautiful highlighter. I love it in the inner corner of my eye, so I paired it with so many eye looks. And just overall, it's just a stunning shade. And like I said, I was like really drawn to using this one because there's already pan. And so I just wanted to continue to expand that pan. So love this one. So glad it was in this project. So I rolled in 2 kind of eyeshadow products. The first is this Kaja Moon Crystal. So it's like a liquid pigment that you put on your eye. And I hadn't maybe only used this a couple times before rolling it in. And so I wasn't sure how many times I would use it or if I'd like it, but I loved using this. I used it 9 times. I loved layering it on my lid and then putting on top of it some of my shimmery shades from my Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan. I thought it was great. And then I also paired it probably all 5 times with this shade. This is the L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadow in the shade Eternal Sunshine. And so this is just a really pretty gold shade. This is another one that just took me forever to hit 5 times because I'm really focused on my eyeshadows that are in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan. And I have a couple shimmery ones in there right now that are very similar. Like, this is gold, so like the shade's different, but the look that you can create is similar as this. So it did take me a little bit of time to use this, although I really did enjoy using the shade and I liked the gold. This is like one of the oldest things probably in my collection, but I still feel like it performs really well and it looked really nice layered on top of this. So I'm glad it was in this project to get 5 uses out of it, because I don't think I would have had I not rolled it in. And that's one of the things that I want to continue doing, especially with my single eyeshadows, is roll them into this project, because otherwise I don't think I'd focus on them as much. The next eye product is this Avon Black Pencil Eyeliner. I used this 25 times this month. I am really focused on using this. I'm gonna actually just throw this back in here because I'm gonna keep it in my Shop My Stash. I want to finish this. I'm not technically panning this as part of like a project pan, but this is basically a side project pan I have with myself if I just want to finish this product up. I think I sharpened it once this month, so not a ton, but I really just use this in my waterline and sometimes on my tight line, so it doesn't get a ton of usage, although I did use it 25 times, which I think is significant, and I'm just going to continue to focus on this, and hopefully at some point in this Shop My Stash series, or if I rolled into a project pan, you will see that it gets so short that I can't sharpen anymore and we can call it a day and be done with it. The last 2 products are lip products. So in the last 2 rounds of my Shop My Stash, maybe the last 3, I'm not 100% sure, I rolled in a lip liner because I'm just really not sure how I feel about lip liners. And so this one is my Kiko Milano lip liner in the shade 534, and I used this 10 times this past month, and I also sharpened this, so super exciting. I really liked pairing it with the lipstick that's in my project pan, and I've worn it on its own as well, and it was really fun. And I don't know if I like love lip liner, but I definitely recognize the value of a lip liner a lot more than I did probably a few months ago before rolling a few into this project. So I'm glad that I've done that, and I'm glad that I got some good usage out of this. My last lip product is my Fenty Beauty lip gloss in the shade Fussy. I love this gloss, so no surprise there that I really enjoyed using it. I used it 8 times, and I just think it's a beautiful gloss. Has a great scent. I love the way it looks on my lips. It's not sticky, so big fan of this one. And like I said, it's not a surprise to me. I knew I liked it, so just glad I spent some time focusing on it this past month and really getting to use it more than I would have if it wasn't in this project. I'm now going to put all of these products away and then take my camera off my tripod, and we'll walk through selecting some new products that I'm going to focus on this next month. All right, let's select some new products. So starting with base, I do think I'm going to pull in another primer because I'm so close to being done with the primer in my project pan. And so I think I only have 3 options now, which is this Glossier Future Dew, which is like super, super luminous. And I just don't think that's the vibe in the summer right now. So then my options are the Professional, which I just had in, so I'm not going to select that. So that really just leaves me with this Pure Cosmetics Form 1 Correcting Primer. So that is what I'm going to move in. And then in terms of base, I am focusing on my Born This Way foundation in my project pan. So no spoilers, but look at that progress. So I think I'm just going to skip foundation because I want to continue focusing on that. I only have really one concealer, and that's just, I only have one concealer, which is the Benefit one. So I'm not going to pull that in because if I need concealer, that's the one I'm using anyway. But let's talk about powder. This one has a pan, but it is something that I do want to pan at some point. Maybe sooner rather than later, hint, hint. So I think I'm gonna leave that out, but I haven't really used my Kosas Cloud Set powder that much. So I think I'm gonna pull this in and try and get at least 5 uses on that. And then thinking about other face products, my bronzer, which has been basically the same response every time I do this, is I'm just going to keep focusing on my Fenty Beauty bronzer because I have a pretty big pan in here and I want to get that one done, and that is in my project pan. For blush, I've been actually devoting some time recently to this NARS blush, and the pan has been growing. So I do think I'm gonna pull this in and keep chugging away on it. It has this like funny side pan, so gonna keep working on that one. And then thinking about highlight, I think I'm gonna be like wild and crazy and select a highlight that is either one of these liquid highlights, which I have a couple of them, or this stick highlight that I don't think I've ever even used. So I think I'm gonna go with this Trestique stick highlight. I don't think I've ever even used this. I think it came in a BoxyCharm and it's just kind of been sitting in my collection. So I'm gonna try it out, see if I even like it. If I don't, I think I'd probably declutter it. But I do like a powder highlight as well. Which one do I wanna use? There's like a significant dip going down in the middle right there. Would love to roll this one in and see if I can hit pan. That'd be fun. So let's work on Cookie for highlight. For setting sprays, I'm focused on a setting spray in my project pan, so I'm probably gonna leave that one alone. But let's pull in a single shadow. I do wanna use one of my ColourPop single shadows just to keep using them. So this one's Frog, which I love. I don't think I use this one as much as I use Frog, and this is in the shade I Love This. So I'm gonna pull this one in, but I also wanna pull in just a single as well. And I think I'm going to pull in this Urban Decay single shadow in the shade Lithium. It's a really like sparkly one, so I think that'll be fun to pair with that ColourPop Super Shock. So we have that. Like I mentioned, I'm keeping my Avon eyeliner in. Anything in here that would be interesting to pull in. This is new to my collection. I am working very diligently on my Project Pan lipstick. This is such a different vibe than that, so I do think I'm gonna pull in this Rare Beauty lip cream. And I do wanna pull in a gloss too. So I have this gloss. What's up here? Maybe I'll pull in my Maybelline Lifter Gloss. This is in the shade 003 Moon, so I think we'll work on this one. And that might be it, which I feel like is less than what I normally do, but I think that's a good roundup. So I'm gonna hop back on camera and quickly talk through this. So I feel like I went with a much more simple bag this time, but that is perfectly okay. I think with this, it's totally fine to kind of switch up how many products are in every month or whatever. It doesn't always have to be the same amount or the same type. And I really choose a lot of my products based on what I'm working on in my other project pans, because if I'm focusing on too many of the same products, it gets overwhelming and I don't feel like I'm making any really good progress on any of them. So I don't like to do too many like overlapping or competing products. So that being said, I feel like I'm only focusing on a few, but I think they're all really good ones and I'm excited about it. So the first one is this Pure 4-in-1 Correcting Primer. I don't think I've used this a ton, and so super excited to actually start using this because like I said, I am very close to being done with my Project Pan primer. I think this one will be a nice transition after that one to continue to use. I'm not like totally in love with primers, and so I don't think I need as many in my collection as I kind of have had over the past few years. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of working through them in project pans and all of that. And this is something that I think I'd like to finish at some point. I also selected my Kosas Cloud Set powder. I haven't used this as much as I've wanted to. It's such a beautiful powder. I really do like it. The only thing that I have like hesitation about is all of the feedback around it getting a lot of hard pan, and it just kind of makes me nervous to use it because I want using it to be a really good experience. So silly reason not to even attempt to use it. I might as well just try and use it. So that's why I'm rolling it in, to make an effort to actually use it more. Like I mentioned, I'm going to focus on one blush this time. I've been devoting a little bit of extra attention to this one as of recently, and so would like to continue doing that. And if this is like the one blush that I have in this Shop My Stash, it might be used pretty regularly, which is totally fine. I'd love to see that pan expand, and I would love to finish this one in the next, I don't know, year or so. That is why I'm putting it in this project. For highlight, I am trying something different. I am moving in a stick highlight. I wanted to either move in a stick highlight, which is this one, or one of my liquid highlights because I just don't use those. So I went with this Trestique highlight stick. I believe I received this in my BoxyCharm however long ago. I don't know if I've ever even used it. I think I've swatched it and like played around with it a little bit, but this could be fun in the inner corner. I think this could be fun on like my collarbones or my shoulders. So I'm gonna figure out some ways to use this, and then as a result of kind of using that maybe on like more like body areas, I am going to roll in my cookie highlight from Benefit. I have a pretty good dip going on this, so it'd be really cool to spend some time focusing on this one and maybe hit pan this month. That's kind of my goal. I don't know actually how deep these pans are, so I could be really stretching, but that would be fun to be able to do. And then, like I mentioned, Avon eyeliner staying in because I just want to finish that one. And then I'm focusing on two shadows. The first is this ColourPop Super Shock shadow in the shade I Love This. It feels like a silvery taupe sparkle shadow, so I think that'll be really pretty. I'll be able to, you know, layer that under and over probably a lot of different shadows. And then I'm also rolling in this really sparkly Urban Decay shadow in the shade Lithium. I think this one's gonna be super fun to use. I think I might have a hard time using this one as much as using the ColourPop one because I can layer this, like I said, on top of other shadows that I'm focusing on in my project pan. This one might not be as easy to use, but I definitely want to get my 5 uses out of this one. And it'll be fun to use. I love that shade, but like I said, I tend to focus on my eyeshadows and my pan those eyeshadows as opposed to the ones in here. Then lastly, I'm rolling in 2 lip products. The first is this Rare Beauty lip cream in the shade Brave, and it is like a very orange lip cream. And the reason I'm rolling this in is because it's new in my collection and I really like it, and because it's so very different than the lipstick I am panning in my project pan. And so I feel like when I'm looking for something different or have a different look on, I think this would be really fun to use. We are also actually headed for a vacation this coming week, and so I think this might be a really fun like vacation simple lip color. So super excited about this. Also just love the packaging on here. Soft matte, the way to go. And then lastly is my lip gloss that I selected. So I chose the Maybelline Lifter lip gloss in the shade Moon. And this is just such a pretty lip gloss. It's actually what I would call a dupe for the Fenty Beauty Fussy lip gloss. So I was just working on that one, really enjoyed it. And when I took a little look at my lip glosses, I was like, oh, this would be perfect because it's just so easy. It works really well with like pretty much every lip color, and it's a beautiful shade. And I really haven't spent a lot of time working on this, so I do want to get at least 5 uses in just to make sure that I am spending some time on something that I don't always do. And that is it. Those are the products that I'm going to be focusing on for the next month or so, unless I can hit 5 uses on them way sooner than that in my Shop My Stash project pan. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe and healthy. And thank you so much for watching my videos. And I will catch you in my next one. Bye.